Yeah, so I'm Amanda Kerr. I'm a hypnotherapist and mind coach based in Chiswick in West London. I've been doing this now for just over 10 years. And I now really specialise in helping people to overcome unresolved traumas and grief, anxiety and depression. And hypnotherapy is really what it says on the box. It's therapy through the use of hypnosis. And the reason I love it and work with it and I find it so powerful is because what we're doing is we're working with the unconscious part of the mind, which is where all our beliefs and behaviors are formed and buried. And a lot of them are good ones, but unfortunately we acquire negative ones along the way. Quite often we're kind of stuck at an unconscious level at some part of our past, quite often in childhood. And our brains are a bit like computers. They're sort of programmed and conditioned to react and to think and respond in a certain way. And sometimes the programming becomes out of date. And we wonder why we're still experiencing certain feelings and behaviors and responses that we don't really understand, because we're trying to understand them at a conscious level. I'll explain that briefly in a moment. So through the use of hypnosis, we work with the deeper unconscious part of our mind, which we don't consciously understand, and we can update that programming. So just very briefly to explain the way the mind works is we have the two parts to the mind. We have the conscious part and the unconscious. So the best analogy I have, and I just very quickly drew, sorry, it's like a child's drawing. I don't know if you can see that, but if you imagine like an iceberg, that's the best analogy I can use, okay? So the tip of the iceberg, if you think of that as the conscious part of our mind, it's about 10% of our mind. And it's the logical, analytical part that we use all the time. I'm using it now as I talk to you. We use it when we have to learn a new skill, a new habit or behavior, and we can process up to 7 pieces of information, give or take 2 at any one time. So, for example, when we're learning to tie shoelaces as a child, learning to drive a car, ride a bike, we have to use the conscious part of our mind to do that. But the other part of the mind, the large bit of the iceberg under the water that you can't see, is the unconscious part of our mind. And that's 90%. And that is basically, that keeps us alive. It's running us at a deeper level. We're not even aware. So when we learn to drive a car, we have to use the conscious part. But through repetition and reinforcement, it filters through to the unconscious and it becomes an unconscious behavior. We get in the car, we drive, we don't even think about doing it, do we? It's not a conscious behavior anymore. And that becomes the same with things like tying shoelaces and crossing the road. We have to learn at a conscious level as a child, but it becomes an unconscious behavior. And that also is the same with our behaviors and habits and feelings and thoughts. And sometimes they don't serve us. They become quite limiting and stop us from being able to be the best version of ourselves. So when we're doing hypnosis, all we're doing is going into an altered state of awareness. So we all spend a big chunk of our day in a hypnotic state. You know, when we go into a daydream, we should be concentrating, we should be working, and we're staring out of the window, we're staring into space. That state is the hypnotic state. And all that you do there is you come out of the conscious part of your mind and you've gone into the unconscious part of your mind, the creative imaginary part. And so when we're in that state, we're more highly suggestible. And that's when we absorb suggestions about life around us, and some good and some bad. So when I take people into that hypnotic state, we're just asking, because quite often when we have certain behaviors or things that are kind of holding us back in life and we don't understand, you know, say, for example, someone who has a fear of public speaking, and they know rationally and with the logical conscious part of their mind that there's no reason I should have fear. I'm a good speaker, I know my stuff, there's absolutely no reason why I should have a fear of talking in front of people. But if in the unconscious part of their mind there is a belief because of something that happened in their past, for example, I've worked with plenty of people with a fear of public speaking who quite often it goes back to childhood. It might be a situation where they're in an assembly and they get laughed at. They forget their words in the presentation. You know, one little thing like that can happen, and that can be enough for the mind to say, you know what, that situation caused you pain, and I'm going to make sure that you're not going to experience that pain again. So it becomes an anxiety, it becomes a fear. And so once you understand it and you can go back and say, okay, I get it now. I did feel fear as a 6-year-old standing in front of all the parents and being laughed at. It's no longer appropriate for me to feel like that as a 32-year-old successful executive. So once you understand it, you're free and you can let it go, and you can upgrade the beliefs around those behaviours. So I'm going to stop because I know that I kind of warble because it all makes sense to me, but I know to other people it doesn't. So I'm going to ask you if you've got any questions that you'd like to ask me before we go into the hypnosis. No? Okay. Well, shall I just go straight into the hypnosis then? Okay. So this hypnosis, so it's very like anyone that likes meditating, it's basically, hypnosis is like a meditation. So we're just asking the conscious mind just to drift off, go off and have a little sleep. And we want to access the unconscious part of your mind. And I'm just going to, this is an opportunity for you to relax and also just to experience how the power of your mind and the power of your thoughts can change your state, your emotional state very, very quickly, and can just show you how sometimes all the limiting fears and boundaries that we set ourselves can prevent us from being able to be that best version of ourselves. So enjoy it, just relax. I'm going to put some music on, and we can have some questions at the end if you want. So if everybody can just make yourselves nice and comfortable, make sure that your head is supported, your neck, because it's probably going to be about 20-25 minutes. So I'm going to put some music on. I just want to make sure that the level is right, because I don't want it to be drowning out my voice. So if I start the music. So can I just get a thumbs up? Can you hear the music? And can you hear my voice more over the music? Good. Okay. So just make yourselves nice and comfortable. Just start by taking some deep breaths, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Take another deep breath in and breathe out. And now I'd like you to raise your eyeballs up as if you're trying to look into your eyebrows or even into your hairline, and then fix your eyes on a spot on the ceiling above you. You should notice a little strain in your eyes. That's fine. That's you getting a burst of alpha brain waves there. And just fix your eyes on that point above you and take another deep breath in. And breathe out, keeping your eyes fixed on that point above you. Take another deep breath in. And breathe out, your eyes feeling heavy now. That's hypnosis coming upon you. Taking one more deep breath in. And this time as you breathe out, keeping your eyeballs up, I'd like you just to close your eyelids all the way down. Good. You can be aware of all those little muscles in and around your eyes, feeling very loose and limp. And you can forget all about your eyes now as you become aware of a drifting, floating feeling developing in your body as you relax more and more. Being aware of the sound of my voice and the music and any other noises around you, they can all become part of your trance experience today. As you sink deeper into the surface beneath you, relaxing more and more. That's right. And as you just allow your whole body to relax, allowing it to become heavier and heavier, the deeper and deeper you go into relaxation. And some people compare the feeling to having a massage, that wonderful feeling where your body experiences warmth and care and comfort. So you might like to imagine now that you're experiencing your own special facial massage, starting with relaxing those tiny little muscles around your eyes. Just let them go. And now the cheekbones and the jaw, just allowing them to relax and let go. That's right. And just releasing and relaxing all the muscles in your forehead now. And that relaxation now flows down through your body from the top of your head all the way down to the tips of your toes. Feeling wonderful, feeling heavy, going deeper and deeper. Just imagine the feeling now of the warm, soft, clean towel around your head and neck. Maybe you can smell its freshness. A safe, secure feeling. A feeling of being cared for, of being totally looked after. A feeling of comfort. And now just imagine your therapist gently and smoothly and easily massaging the area around your eyes, slowly and smoothly. Just feel the gentle touch as all those little muscles around your eyes are gently stroked and caressed. And now feel that relaxation spreading up to the area between your eyes. Soft, gentle, warm fingers slowly massaging your forehead, releasing all that tension. Just let it go. Now around the temples, smoothly and gently. And it's a nice, pleasant feeling to have all this attention, to feel this cared for, to feel the warmth and the touch. Your cheekbones now and jaw being gently stroked. And it creates in you a deep sense of well-being, a deep sense of relaxation that seems to spread throughout your entire body. And some people like the feeling of having their head gently stroked, feeling those soft, gentle fingers running through your hair, back and forth, back and forth. And in a moment, I'm going to count down from 10 all the way down to 0. And with each number I count down, with each gentle stroke of your hair, you will go deeper and deeper into relaxation, so that by the time I get to 0, you will be so deeply relaxed. 10, just allowing your body to relax more and more. 9, deeper and deeper. 8, feeling that sense of well-being. 7, nobody wanting anything, nobody expecting anything. 6, nothing whatsoever for you to do except relax. 5, calmer and more relaxed. 4, Noting now how your breathing has become slower and steadier. 3, 2, feeling so lazy, feeling so relaxed, so heavy. And 1, almost there. And 0, entering a state now of complete relaxation, just allowing your body and mind to relax and drift. This is a special time just for you to release and let go. And perhaps noticing how your whole body is feeling heavy. Some people feel tingling in their hands and fingers, and this is just a sign of how deeply relaxed you are. It's a time where your unconscious mind and your imagination comes alive. And I want you to imagine now that you're on a beautiful beach. It's your beach. You're alone and safe, and nobody and nothing can harm you. No one can disturb you. It's at the end of the day and the sun is beginning to set. The sun is low in the sky. A big yellow ball at first, but changing before your eyes into a darker yellow. And the deeper and deeper the sun goes down, the more the color changes until it becomes a deep orange, like a giant ball of fire on the horizon. And the sky all around it also changing colors, changing from yellow to orange to a soft pink, and then a darker pink, purple, and then all those colors mixing together, spreading right across the sky in front of you, as far as the eye can see. You slowly walk towards the ocean, relishing the feel of the soft, warm sand beneath your feet, which changes into a cooler, firmer surface as you near the water. Hearing now the gentle whisper of the waves lapping onto the shore, back and forth, back and forth. It's a calming sound, a soothing sound, reinforcing that sense of well-being and relaxation. And as you stand there, you marvel at the deep sense of peace and tranquility that sweeps over you. Feeling the soft, gentle breeze against your face. It's the perfect temperature for you, and you feel just wonderful. You walk back up the beach a little and find yourself a warm, sandy hollow, and sit down, noticing a small jetty off to your left, where tiny sailing boats and fishing boats are moored. You notice that some have soft glowing lights that are reflected into the water and dance amongst the ripples and the waves. And a bird slowly passes, glides across the sky in front of you. seemingly just inches from the surface of the water. The sound of peace is all around you. And taking some deep, deep breaths of that clean, fresh, salty air, you lay back on the soft sand, feeling so lazy now, so sleepy. And in this state of perfect relaxation in your wonderful imagination, we're going to go deeper and allow your mind to go on a wonderful, exciting journey. A journey into exploring the best version of you. The best version of you with no limitations, with no fears, with no emotional blocks. So just allow your mind to be free and creative. And I want you to imagine that I'm waving a magic wand. And as I wave this magic wand, I am eliminating all the limiting beliefs, the fears and blocks which have been holding you back from performing at your best. Your unconscious mind knows what they are, and without the need to dwell on them, you can allow yourself to feel free of them right now, here in the safety of hypnosis. And notice how that feels. Free of old, unwanted fears and behaviors. And now I want you to imagine yourself as you want to be, being the best version of you. Really focus on how you want to be. Because your mind is a goal-seeking device programmed to move towards that which you focus on. And you are focusing on how you want to be. Being the best version of yourself. What are you seeing? How are you thinking? How are you feeling? What are you doing differently? Where are you living? Perhaps you've changed career, taken up a new hobby. Just notice all the changes in how you think, feel, and behave. Notice the actions that you take. And notice how this impacts on all the different areas of your life. Your professional life, your social life, your relationships. Really fully associate with this best version of you. Step right inside them now. See out through your eyes, hear out through your ears. Make the colors bolder, brighter, and more vivid. Make any sounds louder. And make those feelings stronger. And now I want you to think about what resources would be useful to add in to enhance this best version of yourself. Perhaps some more confidence or motivation. Just notice what you would like to add in. And then I want you to go back to a time when you remember feeling this emotion strongly. So for example, if it's confidence, go back to a memory, any memory from your past where you felt supremely confident. Or perhaps you want to feel more relaxed or more motivated, whatever the emotions are. When you have a memory, just allow yourself to go back there. And I now want you to be right there and see out through your eyes, hear out through your ears, and notice those powerful, positive feelings inside you. Notice where you feel them in your body and make them stronger. Double those good feelings, quadruple them. You are bursting with these great feelings now. Send them to every single cell and fiber in your body, all the way up to the top of your head and down to the tips of your toes. And now, with these wonderful, good feelings, just take yourself back to your image of the best version of you and integrate these good feelings into this image. Notice how you think and feel and behave. Noticing the changes. How do you hold yourself? What are you doing differently? How is this impacting on your life? What is different? Where are you? What are you doing and how do you feel? How do other people see you? What changes have other people noticed about you? Really step in now and enjoy everything you love about this image. Make it so real. This best version of yourself. Knowing and understanding how feasible and possible it is to experience this best version of yourself. Knowing and understanding that you have all the resources inside you to make this a reality. Your amazing mind is connecting with all the resources inside you, taking all the wisdom, the learnings, and the understandings from this experience to allow you to make subtle positive changes at an unconscious level, which allow you to feel more confident, happier, and more positive. And as you, one more time, just take a snapshot of this image, the best version of you, and associate that with a positive word, phrase, or picture, so that every time you think this word or picture, your mind is immediately reminded of all the powerful possibilities available to you in moving towards and connecting more and more with this best version of yourself. Good. Now in a moment, I'm going to bring you back to your full awareness, where you will be fully awake, fully alert, feeling amazing and allowing these wonderful good feelings to continue growing in strength at a deeper unconscious level. So on a count of 1, 2, 3, becoming more alert, more aware. 4, body energy levels are rising now. And 5, take a deep breath, open your eyes and wide awake. Good, just take your time to come back round. Maybe have some water if you've got some. Rich, do you want to unmute everybody and just see if there's any sort of questions?
Amanda, that was amazing.
You enjoy that?
I'm always amazed how relaxing I find it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know that sounds crazy, but I think, yeah, I guess that's what it's designed to do, right? Is take you to another place, but it totally does. So, like with hypnosis, what are the main things that you kind of tend to treat with it? You know, like, because I always thought of it, I think, as, you know, like stopping smoking or, you know, fear of flying or whatever. But from the sounds of what you said, like, there's so much more that you can do with it, you know.
Yeah, massively. I mean, I think that so the main areas I now focus on are more anxiety and depression and traumas, because the hypnosis is a part of what I do. That's more the part of sort of either understanding, so regressing the mind back to understand where some of these limiting beliefs and behaviors have come from so that we can release them, or it's about helping support the client to move forwards and reprogramming the mind with more positive suggestions. So that's one part of it. But another part of what I do are using some other methods and techniques which are all about fast release of stuck and trapped emotions and energy around traumatic events from our past. So depression tends to be more people living in the past and stuck with traumas and negative experiences from their past, and they're kind of replaying them, and it's a lot to do with the way that they collaborate and communicate with their mind as well. You know, people start tuning in to, you know, we chatter away to ourselves all day. And when we start actually tuning into the way that we talk to ourselves, it's amazing how quite often depressed people are being horrible and brutal to themselves. And so that's a big part of what I do is the mind coaching as well, is getting people to understand that they are not serving themselves in the way that they are communicating with their mind, because the mind is always listening. The mind doesn't differentiate between what is real and what is imagination. It just responds to our thoughts, and our thoughts are based on 2 things. They're the words that we use, the internal chatter, and the movies that we're constantly running in our head. And so it's so important to play positive, powerful movies. So just to give you an example of, so the difference between 2 people on a plane, one person who's, say, got a massive fear of flying and somebody that doesn't have a fear, the only difference between those 2 people on that plane is the movies that they're playing in their head and the words that they're using. So the person who has a huge fear of flying on, say, the left side of the plane is probably running movies of seeing the engine on fire, seeing a dodgy person, sort of seeing the plane going down, and they're playing the best catastrophic movie that you could imagine. And yet the person on the other side of the plane who's loving flying is probably running a very, very different movie. Imagine them what they're going to be doing when they're on holiday, seeing themselves sitting on a beach with a cocktail in hand, and that creates very pleasant, nice feelings. And that's all it is. So everything starts with a thought. Absolutely everything that runs us, it all starts with a thought. And hopefully you could just see from the hypnosis that we just did how by utilizing the power of changing those thoughts can change our emotional state. So the thoughts create our feelings create our behaviors, and our behaviors dictate the events in our lives. So it's really starting to get a hold on the way that we're thinking and what we're doing with those thoughts. So that's a big part of what I do as well.
Amanda, can you?
Oh, sure. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's Louisa. Sorry, my camera's not working annoyingly. I know everybody's different, and I know some people are going to be more susceptible to it than others, just in the way they can tap in to that sort of dreamy state, I guess. But what would you say is like a typical length of time you work with someone on perhaps a real, let's just say someone's just system around something and it's holding the back? You mentioned like public speaking, like fear of public speaking.
Sure.
What would you say, what's a sort of typical length of time you'd spend working with a client?
So something like that, if it's one straightforward thing and it's about going back and finding out what is the cause of that limiting belief or behavior, it's quite simple. One, I tend to do quite long, intensive sessions. My sessions are about 2.5 hours. But normally one would be enough with something like that. And I've never done, apart from one very complicated, complex OCD client, I've never seen anybody for more than 6 sessions, and that's quite unusual. Generally, I see people between 2 and 3 sessions maximum, and that's with even, you know, because it's about sort of, sometimes it's about peeling away layers, and you can kind of evaporate one outer layer, and then sometimes a new one that's been suppressed and depressed, because that's what depression is. It's about depressing old, you know, it's a survival thing. We have to be able to survive, we have to depress, because if we just gave into the thoughts and the feelings that we, you know, some people live with on a daily basis, they wouldn't be able to function. So we depress, suppress, suppress, until at some point, the best way I can describe it, actually, it's a bit like we're all born with an empty emotional barrel. And as we have emotional upsets or traumas, that gets a bit heavier and heavier and heavier. And eventually it fills up, and then it overspills for some people. And then that's when it manifests in negative ways. For some people, it might be depression. Some people, it might be addictions, pain, all sorts of different ways, because the mind and the body can only take so much before it needs to release. So some of the methods that I use, so something like a public speaking phobia, unless there were more complicated foundations to it that might maybe need 2 or 3 sessions, one would probably be enough.